Hello and welcome back to the City Beneath. Finished with lowest proper, and finally made it to lowest point. But what is lower than lowest point? Here lies First Watcher.
Oh. What? What am I seeing? I can't believe this. Great gob, would you look at that? This changes everything.
Something 3D. So, this is a curious choice for final cutscene. I guess it makes the point. You look down through the pit and you see the sky. Follow-up game to this is the second sky, by the way. I'm sure everyone who's watching this already knows that. But as far as this cutscene goes, kind of wondering why it went on for as long as it did. Because I feel like it already made its point. Because somebody spent a lot of time making all these like textures and modeling the this mountain. Actually, I wonder if anybody's ever made anything based off of this, like a hold based off of this. I don't really know how you would. Alright, we've completed the City Beneath. Wait, saw the ending in credits. Were there credits? 25 hours. Alright, I believe that is less than half the time of my first playthrough of this. And I was even doing challenges. 93%. Okay, so I missed a few secrets. Dugan. By now, you should be well familiar with him. He is not a man easily impressed or intimidated. Over the past months, in his travels to and within the rooted empire, he has discovered that the world is perhaps more complicated than he had originally known. He always believed, though he would not phrase it this way himself, that this is a finite complexity, that, if you look hard enough, you will find a point beyond which there are no more problems. Now, Dugan should be feeling elated, for he had found such a point, but instead, he feels rather different. It may be called awe, and it may be called understanding, but Bithro thought of it as that feeling you get when you enter an apparently empty room when suddenly a subtle clicking tells you that you are flanked by spiders from all directions. For Bithro finally, and suddenly, realized the end of all problems is also their beginning, and that, perhaps, he may have been trying to solve the wrong problem all along. Now, as Bithro stares into what lies beneath Lowest Point, it is time to close this chapter of his adventures. But fear not, for Bithro is never one to falter in the face of adversity. He shall emerge more determined than ever, and his story will resume, to be continued in DROD the Second Sky. Okay, now the credits. The game is a little bit difficult. Yes, it certainly is. I'm not going to be reading all of this, but I will paraphrase and comment on it, I suppose. 2 years to build. I mean, that's faster than the holds I've made, so good progress, all things considered. I can adjust the speed here. Right, so the most important thing about that ending, really, is that First Watcher is dead. The leader of the Empire is just not leading them. It's all just a bureaucracy at the end of the day. My master selections. Next full-length game is not going to be the Second Sky or even a DROD game. Well, that's not actually true. It did end up being repurposed into DROD. That was Gunthrow and the Epic Blunder, a prequel to the DROD series. Manson, apparently the guy who's writing these credits, he is the original creator of DROD. Not so active with DROD anymore. Mike Reimer is currently the person who's leading DROD, although Mike Reimer also, I feel, is less involved than he used to be. Which, I mean, is understandable. As far as I know, there are no plans for a DROD 6. It's really just a community project at this point. I mean, even with the Second Sky, and probably even before the Second Sky, but in the Second Sky in particular, the community made a lot of the puzzles for it. So it's not like the developers are behind absolutely everything. It is very much a community project at this point. If a DROD 6 were to come about, I'm sure that there would be some sort of post within the forums where they'd be letting people know and recruiting some of the more I don't know if popular is the right term, but like the more successful or prolific architects to contribute stuff to it. I wonder if that would be done publicly or if it would just be a private message to select individuals. Anyway, I'm just gonna speed this up because I actually don't have too much to say about this. You know, all very cool people that did a lot of things, making a game that we all know and love. This is the game franchise that I've spent the most time playing out of any game. And even though I do take breaks from it, I always do end up coming back to DROD, so I do still consider it to be my favorite game of all time. And even as far as this channel goes, the next thing that I do, once I'm done City Beneath, which we're not done yet, we still have Secrets and then we have Postmastery. But once we're done with all of that, the next thing that I'm going to do is definitely not going to be DROD. Which isn't to say that I'm done with DROD, for sure. I want to do more DROD in the future. I just don't have a DROD hold lined up that I want to be playing right away. And there are a ton of other puzzle games that have accumulated, so I think that's sort of the main thing I'm going to be doing is maybe dropping the other stuff and focusing more just on puzzle gameplay. Is there a way to skip that? Okay, yeah. There's a secret at the end of that you have to play for yourself. We're not going to reveal that on video. That would be irresponsible. Okay. So, having beaten the game, we can now do this until we hit explored not 100%. Interesting. 25th level. This was a flashback. Secrets conquered 0 of 0, so this is not where our missing secret is. Wait, there was a... I have cleared this room, right? Yeah, must have. Okay, the villa. Story. Well, I'm not seeing... cracked wall here. Some of these I'm assuming, like if you see this is completely disconnected. So there might be another way to get here for story reasons at some point. I'm going to assume that it's not there. River Dugan. Okay, we did miss a secret here. Alright, we found a secret room. There's a challenge scroll of some sort. Uh-huh. So I want one here. That gives me access to this. I'm not even trying to speculate as to what the challenge might be. This is not how you get one on there. It has to be through there. Which means that we do not want you locking that up. There we go. Okay, I need to deal with them better. So I guess what we're actually going to do is we're going to put you up here first. That lets us get one of you here. And we're out. I've almost certainly failed the challenge. Alright, so for this room, there's really not a lot you can do, because you can't come up this way, or you get caught by these golems. You can't come in... I mean, I guess I could run in this way. If I come down here, I can get you caught on this, and then up there, maybe? It's the first thing I saw. Let's try it. There we go. That lets us get around you. Like that. don't want to do that. Actually, I might just be stuck here. Yeah, having that guy there is really bad. I can't actually get there. Okay, well, we can go around this way. No. Okay, I think we're just stuck here. Well, I mean, that's easy enough to avoid. Just do that. Okay, we'll get you next. That's a little bit of a problem. Can't do that. Okay. Let's just not get you out right away then. And with that... Before we do anything with you, we do need to deal with you first. I was thinking I can get you off there. This first room is still going to be pretty hard. And I lose a lot of ability to do things if I just do that. Because I lose a lot of potential space to maneuver. I'm also not sure how I possibly... get you... anywhere. I mean, I guess I do this, maybe? Which makes this pretty hard. Yeah, because I don't think there's a way to get a golem here. Alright, let's just put you back in your spot. So if I had to guess, the challenge is probably to avoid doing backtracking. So if I just repeat what I did, but with one fewer rock column, this will solve the room. So now it's a matter of finding out what the challenge is. Unarmed and dangerous. Clear the room without regaining your sword. Oh. Okay, I mean, that would be a way to break the room, I guess. You could lure this golem in particular, you could lure past the trapdoor. Yeah, because if you do that, then this, you can just kill it out here. Okay, well. There we go, found it. Go no further west than the second checkpoint. Okay, so never step here. So what this room is asking, just make sure that I did that with maximal efficiency because I want this timer going. I can step this way. You don't want me to step any further than that. If I ever step to the east, then the bridge collapses. So I need to wait till the bomb blows up. Okay. Well, what does this look like? First cycle was pretty easy. Now I'm having to do that, and I'm not able to clear this, so we're just going to have more and more coming. Yeah, okay, so that strategy was not working. This just seems so much worse. Wait. I mean, this is a repeatable cycle. Sort of. How come that was worse this time? Okay, well, we're not going to clear that. Yeah. This is, an interesting efficiency problem. Is clearing these useful? Yeah, this is so much slower if I start doing that. Which is where that problem comes in. I still need 2 more cycles, it looks like. There's probably a repeatable pattern. I can't wait for you guys. Can't wait for you. So I need... There we go. Yeah, I already failed the challenge. But, oh. Of course. Can I... No, I can't get there faster. I was trying to block that spawn with the roach. Hmm. Maybe I just need to keep sorting them out like that. Yeah, okay, this is way easier than I was making it out to be. Just shuffle them. Go no further west than the second checkpoint. Okay, so what that's saying then is I have to actually kill them myself. Okay, so the room isn't actually done. That's a problem. I can't chase you. Okay, so I can't do that. I can't do that roach first. Okay. Now I can. Assuming I've understood the challenge correctly, this should do it. Kill everything without stepping. Holding the line. Yeah, challenge definitely made that room a lot harder for two reasons. One, because we had less space to maneuver when dealing with the initial set of roaches, and then two, because we had to actually deal with the roaches rather than just dropping the bridge, which had its own challenge, as you saw at the end there. Okay. Master the city beneath. And now that the hold is mastered, do we have 100% explored the tutorials? Where would it be? In the city. Did I never find it? I did. I didn't go through it. I see. You found the entrance to the secret bonus level. The master wall will drop after you've beaten the game and conquered all the secret rooms. I guess that achievement re-sent. Now we're in the Undercity. Alternate puzzle rooms, other random things, and art. So I think we'll leave the puzzle rooms for next time, but we'll check out the other stuff here. Alright, so we have a B-throw done in lights. Is this sort of lighting new to the city beneath? That might be what the purpose of this room was, because I don't think Journey to Rooted Hold had colored lights, colored ceiling lights. Of course, if you're playing the remake, then it does. Well, that says something. Blaze. Light. Show? Yes, this is Glaze Light Show. Okay, so just showing off that lights don't show over pit, but they do show over other things. And we're forced to take them in this direction. Roaches. Goblin.
Oh, nice finish.
Stab the goblin. This is a puzzle for some reason. That's probably not where I want to start, actually. That's kind of awkward. Oh. For some reason I thought I'd be able to move diagonally, but I cannot. Oh. There we go. Just blow them up. No high score for that room. My first place tie. Alright, we've got a shoe for some reason. Rainbow for some reason. This room will be traversable once we have beaten the entire level. However, is that pixel red? Does not record high scores. I can just wait to kill it. It's on a hot tile. Right, so the room is conquerable. So yeah, the blue might come down at some point if we full clear this level. So there might be something else past that. Okay, got a sunset. Crossroads, okay. There's a lot of pixel art here. Relatively limited color palette, but people have made it work. I don't have a sword here, which makes it a lot easier as far as secret hunting. And then this is not actually scripting, it's just stairs, right? Oh, it's scripted. Interesting. I just assumed it was ceiling darkness and stairs. But I guess then you'd get a transition? I don't know. Other random scene. Other random things.
Ooh, I almost forgot to tell you.
You forgot? How good can forgettable gossip be?
Really good, I promise.
All right then, let's have it.
Okay, so I heard just recently that some 30 levels above the city,
Kind
there's
of-
this man carrying around a gigantic mallet.
Kind of wish they
Say he's
weren't on the
walking
same
around, there's some
horizontal level.
monsters there. Isn't that outrageous?
Old news, buddy. Old news.
You're kidding. I'm so out of the loop.
So a reference to King Dugan's dungeon, which is a pretty rough hold. I'm not planning on ever playing that for the channel. I might do a playthrough of the Second Sky at some point, just because I've only played through it once, and it is a fantastic hold, plus I have to get those sweet Steam achievements. But, because I played it on GOG the first time. But as far as King Dugan's Dungeon goes, that is the single hold that I have played through the most times. I'm not sure how that ended up happening, it just sort of did. It's alright, but it's not, you know, like... DROD has evolved a lot over the years, and it is a much better game now, and the quality of the puzzles are much higher now than they were in the very early days. There's a lot of very experimental things. There are things to be grateful for, though, because I feel like if you think about most of the elements that have really weird rules to them, things like goblins, serpents, and wraithwings, three of the harder monsters to predict, and also brains, I guess, because that brains are just a wild concept. It's like, let's just change the way every single monster in the game moves. All four of those come from the very original DROD game. And I feel like Wraithwings in particular have a style of movement that might be more complicated than we'll ever see in anything ever created for DROD ever again. And of course, we have gotten new serpents since then, but they just kind of inherited the old serpent movement. I don't think that they would perceive that. I don't know why I'm going on this tangent. Anyway, so yeah, King Dugan's Dungeon. It's great as a historical thing. It's kind of interesting. There's a lot of horde and fighting puzzles. But yeah, I'm not personally planning on playing through it. Clayton. So I say to myself, I want a tattoo. What do I like so much that I'll scar my body forever for? Then it hit me. DROD, of course. But a second thought occurred. When I'm sitting in the bar and a pretty young thing comes up and says, hey, nice tattoo, does it mean anything? I don't want to sound all dorky when I say, it's from a PC game I helped on. So I needed something that DROD fans would recognize, but outsiders wouldn't consider geeky. This is what I came up with. It's a rough sketch. Really rough. Not even sure I'll go through and get the thing. Needles hurt. You get desensitized to them. I've had quite a few needles injected into me over the years. Just from, like, routine medical stuff. And it's just kind of like, getting your blood tested or getting vaccinated for something or whatever it is. It's like, needles don't really bother me anymore. I'm just kind of used to it. So I imagine if you're really into tattoos and things like that, then he would have the same, like, I don't have any tattoos, but I imagine if you are into that sort of thing, you get over it, but your first tattoo is probably pretty scary. Yeah. The mallet is for the Neither, of course. The hook is for the 39th Slayer, and the sword is displayed in front for our hero Bithro. Of course, now that there's the City Beneath and First Archivist is the main villain, his weapon of choice is the pen. So I've worked out a couple ways to work a quill into the design, but nothing looks right to me. Perhaps when DROD the Second Sky is released, I'll have an idea that's nice and symmetrical. Here's hoping, but for now my arm will remain bare. Okay. Yeah, tattoos have just never personally appealed to me. Fanboyism at its best, snaps the Halloween 2006 Bithro lantern in progress. Okay, we got a little DROD logo, we got a Bithro. Probably not going to be super effective against that serpent using his sword, but it is a cool pumpkin. Generic house I made for using a Smite Master selection hold I was working on. Sorry folks, I trashed the idea, but I promise to get another hold out of me someday. Is there anything interactive in here? No, it doesn't look like it.
There's nothing that beats a really big sword. It can chop up one roach, it can chop up a horde. It can make fine work out of a goblin or two. It can open an orb, but whatever you do, remember these words that I sing unto you. Don't stab your nephew. You can slash through a tar patch, you can break through a wall, you can cut through a wubber, though it won't notice at all. But if you care for your safety, you'll never muster the gall to go and stab your nephew. You can chop down a rattler from its tail to its head. If you slash through a spider, it'll sure end up dead. And even an omplik would cower with dread, as long as you don't stab your nephew. He may be annoying, he may be obtuse, and opening doors is his only good use. But no matter how much you'd like to let loose, just don't stab your nephew. Yes, no matter how much you'd like to let loose, don't stab your nephew.
Unc, you stink.
Why, you little...
Well, that sure was a performance. Oh, we can stab people here. Killable citizens. Weird. That didn't happen. Just ignore that. Yeah, there's some very good health puzzles. The main DROD games don't really use health at all. because Journey to Rooted Hold is the only hold there you actually get health. Like we did have that one health room in this hold, which was kind of a throwback to Journey to Rooted Hold. But even then, like it wasn't a particularly inspired health room. It was just using health the way that you use health. But there are some custom holds that make fantastic use of health. He is a tremendous element. I'm glad that people are still using him in puzzles. Yeah, there's a lot you can do other than just opening doors. Hello, my name is Bethro and Vonifa. I was hatched on these days. Green cheek clanur. Newly hatched birds that are very quiet and shy. I work at a pet store in Rockford. I'm guessing that's Illinois. These are two of the birds currently on sale, and I had the opportunity to name them. I chose the only two names that came to mind. I'm not sure about that particular species, but birds can live for quite a long time, so I suppose Bethro and Vonifa are probably still with us. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff in here. I have some early prototype images from a project we were toying with a while back. Well, that's, sure, perspective. It's also interesting. I imagine these doors would be designed differently nowadays because since Tendry's Tale has come out, we now know that these doors don't actually reach the ceiling. I guess we always kind of knew that, because if you close the door on Bethro, he doesn't get crushed. Yeah, this kind of perspective is interesting. I've been following the Factorio Friday Facts for a very long time now. The game's been out for a while. But they still do their Friday devlog stuff. And one of the things that they complained about was the perspective that they made the game in, which is kind of like this. Where you can see these aren't squares, they're trapezoids, with the surface closer to us being slightly larger than the surface that's further back. And this kind of perspective apparently is just a nightmare as far as your sprite work goes. As you can see, these are all going to be distorted, especially if you're doing something with pixel art, but even just sprites in general. You're going to be stretching all the things are going to look less good depending on where in the algorithm they end up based on how close they are or how far they are. So yeah, don't recommend trying this kind of a perspective in games. The head-on even squares just works a lot better for your graphical rendering. Or go full 3D, I suppose is the other option. Like this. Like these look like 3D models, although they do have 2D textures on them. Well, the orb isn't 3D. So, DROD 3D. Would that be a fun game? It could be. I don't know if anybody watching this is familiar with the old Lode Runner platformers. There was a Lode Runner, like Revenge of the Mad Monk, I think was the good one. But then they came out with a 3D version. And that one was kind of clunky, because then you're starting to deal with camera rotations and hidden information that's just behind things, and it gets a lot harder to see what you're doing. There's a place for it, certainly, but I think that this sort of puzzle game done in a 3D space is generally going to have a lot of problems that come with it that detract from the experience. Although Eric Hermansen, the creator of DROD, who we saw in the credits, did release a game relatively recently called The God Killer, which is a DROD-like that is 3D, from what I understand. When I said I had a list of puzzle games to get through that aren't DROD, that was one of them. So that may be coming in the future. Okay, so here I guess we're seeing the first level of... these are all King Dugan's Dungeon, by the way. The very first DROD hold. So part of the reason I've played it so many times is because it's also the hold that gets remade the most. Or gets, reinterpreted, I suppose. So it looks like we have different levels being physically underneath the first level. I mean, could be an interesting concept. Definitely stuff that can be done with it. I think if you really want to make use of 3D, there's one of two things that's going to have to happen. Okay, now we have 3D orbs. You're going to need to either get rid of the idea of concrete rooms. So, like with DROD, you have these... Oh, game crashed. So with DROD... Just load this back up here. So with DROD, you have these different rooms that are... each individual... If I reset things, is it... No, it's OBS is no longer tracking. Okay. Well, we'll sort that out. I'll just finish my thought here, and then I guess we're done. This dead end, so we'll do the rest of it another time. So to finish my thought real quick, yeah, you have to either have the rooms be concrete entities that are separate from each other in the current version of DROD, but if you wanted a 3D DROD, you would want to get rid of that and just have everything be one continuous world, probably. Or, if you want to keep the room concept, but apply it to a 3D space, I feel like to really take advantage of the fact that it's 3D, it kind of makes sense to do things like simple puzzles, kind of like what you see in Pokemon, where you'll push a rock down a hole and then the rock will spawn on the room underneath it. I feel like things like that. Basically, what I would want is a persistent engine of some sort where doing things in one room affects things in another room, which I guess is fundamentally against the philosophy of DROD, so maybe you wouldn't need that. Maybe I'm just wanting a different puzzle game at that point. Which is fine. I think a DROD like that had persistent changes beyond just, scripting flags would be interesting. And I mean, we do have Tendry's Tale, where you're carrying keys around and your health persists and the enemies you kill persists and all that. So, there's definitely space for that, and that would be very enjoyable as well. The problem, of course, being that in a resource management game like Tendry's Tale, you can get yourself stuck where there's just nothing you can do. Anyway, so yeah, we will continue with Undercity next time. I will see you then.